Hi again, guys. Okay, we're going to make the power pod. I've already cut the parts out. They're the two flanges in Depron. They're the two doublers for the flanges in. I've used 0.8, which is about, I guess, a 32nd plywood. You can use 1mm, 2mm ply, something like that, anything around that size will do. Okay, what I'm going to do first of all, pick up the pattern and I'm going to fold it in two. To get the centre. I'm going to mount the centre on the I'm just going to put a mark where the centre is. Just on the edge there. I'll mark the centre and I'll just transpose that onto the face. That, so I know which is the centre. So I know when I roll this around that that is halfway. Okay, so before we roll it, we need to put some tape on, otherwise it will break. I can't emphasise this enough, that with Depron, if you're using Depron, you must tape on the outside, otherwise it will break very quickly and very easily. It's a little tedious doing this, but saves a lot of heartache. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't matter if it wrinkles a bit. There. In fact, I'll trim off the excess all around. Okay. I do have a rubbish bin under the bench here where I just don't keep throwing it on the floor. It is actually a rubbish bin. Okay, now I'm just going to seal that on there a bit. With my trusty roller, this is just a bit of plastic tubing. The most important is the edge. I can't emphasise this enough. Now, there are two ways you can roll Depron. One way it rolls better than the other. I seem to have picked the wrong way for this piece, so it's a good idea to test your bit of Depron first to see which way it rolls best. As I say, I seem to have picked the worst way, but we're not going to see the wrinkles on the inside. As you can see, it's wrinkling it quite a bit on the inside, but we're not going to see that, so it's not really important. I don't think the air flowing through it will really know about it. Now I'm going to use a smaller mandrel, a little bit of tube, and roll it tighter. Can't emphasise enough to get this edge rolled as much as you can. It's the edge there. We can always straighten it out a bit if we need to. Okay, we're pretty good at that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run the sander across it, square the edges up, where when you've rolled it, they tend to force out to a bit of a point. So it's a good idea just to run a sanding block down the edge like that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get myself a couple of little bits of tape ready. I'm going to put a bead of hot glue down there. Pull it nice and tight. If you stick it on one side and then hold the other side and then pull, you will get a very, very tight joint. Could do with Mum's rolling pin for this. I remember my old mum doing this a lot of years ago. Round that off, and as you can see, we've got a nice taper. That would have been not so wrinkly inside there had we had the Depron the other way round. Now with this one I'm going to use the aluminium. This is a slightly more expensive EDF, not a lot more. Again, it's from Hobby King. We've got one that's the plastic one that comes as a kit with the ESC, and that's a 6 blade, and this is the Dr. Mad Thrust 70mm EDF with the aluminium casing. The one with the aluminium casing has, in my opinion, it's got a little bit more power. I think the plastic one is rated at about 1,000 grams of thrust, and I think this is about 1,200. Now you're not going to get that, I guess, but at least I think this is a little more powerful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to test fit that in there. As you can see, it's a little bit on the big side, but that's done purposely because we need to put a slot in there. Other wires to come through. And with this, because this is always going to be most of the time going to be covered on them, I'm going to leave the tape on for extra strength. And as you can see, that is not, it's a tightish fit down here, but because it's tapered, it's not quite as tight there. If I use that one, I have to cut out the slots for these lugs, and again it's about the same size, I guess. Not super important if it's a little bit big. I'm going to put these, the flanges, I'm going to put one on the joint and the other one exactly opposite the joint, which is why I marked the halfway mark. And so I would think probably a good place for these wires to come out would actually be just the top side, maybe at 45 degrees, to the top. But what we'll do first of all, we'll put the flanges on, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little bit stronger, I'm going to cut away a little bit of the cut away a bit of the tape. So I'm actually gluing at least some of it. I will put a fillet on there, but at least I'm gluing some of it onto the foam and not just onto the tape. Bit fiddly. I'm going to do the same thing at this side. I'll join two lines. And then cut about 1/8 of an inch or so either side of that line. So the wide, it's tapered, as you can see, this is tapered. Just going to sand these edges a bit. I've already marked with an X the side that's actually going against the tapered cone, and the widest part is going to go at the widest part of the tapered cone. So I'm going to put a bead of glue back there. Before I do this, I need Okay, I need to make sure that both these two flanges are perpendicular. Is it perpendicular the word? They're level with each other. And so what I've done, I've just got a couple of little packers here, a bit of faux on them. Yeah, just enough to raise this so that I can make sure that when I put these on, that I can make sure that they're level with each other, because I don't want them out of line. So they must be in line with each other. Wide side to the big side of the cone. Same with the other one. The other one's going right on the same. Again, wide side to the big end. Right, I'm going to make sure these are flat and level with each other. I'm just holding that on there, like so. Just there. Okay. Okay, just make sure that they're both in line. It's not super important the actual position, if it's slightly off centre. The most important is they are in line with each other and as close to the centre as possible. Come here. Up onto that. There's a good boy. Up you get. There's Winston. You said you wanted to see Winston? Here he is. Thank you. Okay. Good boy. Good boy.
Wow, you're on camera.
Oh yes. Oh, you're a star. You want to be a star? Right. Okay. You want to go for walkies? Want to go for walkies? Okay. Come on then.